In March 1991, 5 boys left their homes in the mountain city of Kasuganuma to catch frogs in the foothills. Inspired by a real-world case, this story begins on the last day those children were ever seen alive. The city responded with a massive search effort. Hundreds of officers and volunteers combed the slopes, working on the assumption that the boys had simply lost their way or fallen into a mountain stream. That theory began to erode when searchers found a page from one boy's notebook. He was a methodical student who recorded his sightings with precision. His final entry stops mid-word, immediately after noting that the wind was blowing from the north. Then a second discovery shifted the search. Investigators found a child's red plastic watch on a remote ridge. The face was shattered, and the hands were frozen exactly at 12:04 p.m. A notebook abandoned mid-thought, and a watch shattered at a specific minute suggest a sudden, violent interruption. These physical anomalies forced a new, terrifying perspective. The boys hadn't wandered off. They had been intercepted. Detective Ishida and a journalist named Yuki began a separate hunt for a human predator. They focused on a farmer's report of a mysterious white van driving up a restricted service road the morning of the disappearance. Their investigation hit a wall inside the police department itself. The detective discovered that the official gate log for that day had been altered to erase any mention of the white van. The officer who took the original statement admitted that a high-ranking police superintendent had personally ordered the removal of that testimony to keep the official record clear. This deliberate suppression of evidence suggested that a structured system was actively protecting itself, shielding a threat that extended far beyond a lone criminal in the woods. Yuki pivoted the investigation toward the ownership of the mountain parcel where the frozen watch had been recovered. This map shows the ridge where the watch was found. Land records revealed a massive financial anomaly. Contractor Ryujin Mountain purchased this rocky forest for 12 times its value. Permits for this inflated deal were signed by a powerful councilman who controlled the investigating police department. On that private land, deep beneath layers of fresh pine needles, the detective found a concrete shaft. It was flush with the ground and sealed with a heavy steel hatch and a new padlock. The case had transitioned from a hunt for a serial killer into a probe of an industrial and financial crime where 5 children had become collateral damage. Knowing their superiors would block them, the investigators organized the victims' families. They triggered a national media storm that made the hidden shaft impossible for the department to ignore. Under public pressure, the shaft was finally opened. Inside, forensics teams recovered the remains of all 5 boys. Ryujin Mountain was using the shaft as an illegal, cheap disposal site. This massive construction site is the kind of project that generated the toxic soil they were secretly burying on the mountain to save millions. The boys had accidentally walked onto the site while this dumping operation was in progress. They weren't targets of opportunity for a predator. They were witnesses to a corporate crime. Internal records later revealed an emergency remediation invoice for site cleanup and enclosure sealing, billed just weeks after the disappearance. This suggests the children's deaths were processed as a line item expense, a cold, calculated decision to eliminate the only witnesses who could have exposed the industrial operation. The forensic team found a tragic detail inside the shaft. The bodies had been carefully arranged side by side, with their childhood belongings placed gently with them. This wasn't the work of the killers. A local farmer had found the shaft open later that afternoon and seen the children inside. Instead of calling for help, he climbed down to straighten their limbs, then locked the hatch and walked away, choosing his own safety over the truth. The eventual trial was a hollow victory. The city councilman and the corporate contractors received prison time, but only for illegal dumping, corruption, and the falsification of permits. No one was ever convicted of murder. The laborers who were on the site that day vanished before the investigation could identify them, leaving the final act of violence unpunished. The families eventually buried their children, finding a physical closure the justice system refused to provide. These thousands of folded paper cranes remain as a symbol of their permanent memorialization and their unresolved wait for accountability. We are often obsessed with finding monsters in the woods, but the story of the Frog Boys suggests that institutional evil is far more devastating. While the Earth may eventually give up its dark secrets, powerful corporate systems can often keep the truth buried away forever.